Look at this. I got headphones on. I got a mic going. Baby.
If
Huh?
only people could see you now.
Hey, no video. We've gone through this before.
All right,
No
all right,
video.
all right. Welcome to This Commerce Life. This is a podcast aimed at small, medium entrepreneurs focused on commerce. I'm Phil, your host, and Kenny, your co-host, will join us as well. And we're going to talk to you about the world of retail and commerce and how things are changing in the world.
I'll pause for a second and
How old?
Yeah.
How old are the kids?
8, 6, and 2. So wide
Still-
kind of spectrum, and
Still young though.
Yeah.
yeah, we had a little break there, and
Yeah.
weren't sure if we were going to have a third. We did, and like anyone would tell you, we now looking back and very happy to have a family of 5 now. So yeah, it's good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You did your Halloween,
Kenny?
it sounds like.
Kenny,
Oh, sorry,
are you
Phil.
on your mic?
As far as I know.
Can you just check? Because you're a little far away.
Wow, that's a good
Still
setup.
sound bad?
Oh, yeah. There we go. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kenny, I
Yeah.
see a whole bunch of comics in the background. I think, right? This is
Yeah, it's
quite the collection, it seems.
that's just one of those poster boards.
Okay.
Some of the other stuff is Comic-Con. I went down to Comic-Con, I don't remember, 6, 7 years ago, and got some stuff done. I collect a bunch of crap. I mean, like if you could see this room, there's sports cards freaking everywhere.
I love it.
Like everywhere. And it's funny, before you guys got on, I had a buddy once, or someone wanted me to buy some Pokemon. I don't know shit about Pokemon cards, like seriously nothing. Right? But then I found a stack of Pokemon cards. I'm thinking, well,
Oh man,
I'll see what my Pokemon cards are worth if they're worth anything. Right? Because,
buddy,
Why
you
work
should,
full-time?
you should talk to my nephew. My nephew's 25, but he is like, Pokemon was when he was like 11 or 12, and that kid he still knows Pokemon. So if you wanted to
Pokemon is
eyeball
hot,
cards,
as hot. Yeah,
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
me. I'm just,
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Pokemon. I don't
yeah,
care
but he'll
what
be able to
Pokemon
tell you
does.
what cards are good, right? Like, you know what I mean? Because I
As
think
long as they
the
can tell me
ones-
that, I don't
Yeah,
care.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
all
I
about the
think- I
money.
think you
I
will.
couldn't care less about
I
these
think you
stupid
will.
cards. I don't know what I'm looking at. Slowpoke. That's a Slowpoke. Slowpoke's me.
Do you have any garbage pail kids?
No.
That was kind of one of those things that I got back into I think this might be a collectible, so I'll kind of get some and sit on them for a while. So I haven't really looked into that recently, but at the time I was like, wow, I'm shocked at the value of some of these things.
Some of these
And-
cards
This
like,
is
are
where it
amazing,
starts.
right?
Sure.
You heard it here first. Like
I
garbage pail
love
kids are
cards.
in.
I love.
Like-
I bought those. I bought toys for London Drugs for a couple years. So I was all over. Like when shop. I can't remember what they're called now.
Shopkins.
Shopkins was
Yeah,
hot as like
Shopkins,
beyond
yeah.
stupid. I could not. I scoured literally the world, buying offline, close offs, knockoffs, any offs. Like it was mental. So I was by the garbage, the kids, and all that other stuff. Like I said, I mean, if it turned, I
Yeah.
made money. I was happy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Very
So
shallow
hot on
existence.
this podcast. If you need garbage pail kids
Is this
cards,
on? Are we actually recording, or is this going to get edited out?
it's on. It's on.
Man,
This
if
is
you
going in the
can make some
places.
coin on this one, buddy, you tell people. I've got boxes of garbage pail somebody, and I'm happy.
Amazing.
Dave Litton, the only guy in Ontario right now that has garbage pail kids. You come through This Commerce Life, we'll hook you up. And
Hey, if you want good cards, Dave's got them.
That's right.
He's your man. He might not want to be referred to as that, but it's too late now. He's the guy.
Yeah, I've created a persona that I'm not sure I'm going to live up to, but hey.
Not sure you can shake it off
I
either.
guess it's just what comes with it.
Just the first one,
This is the first one, yeah.
and that's
so-
how you're going to start.
I know, right? You know what?
Oh my God, buddy, set the bar low. First off, joining me and him on the first podcast is
Yeah.
already a low enough bar. Then you're going to do
Yeah,
that? Oh,
yeah.
man,
yeah.
you'll be lucky to book anywhere.
Well,
That's awesome.
the inside joke is that if you ever meet a friend of ours, Mark Sterling, you tell him you got a better time slot than he did. Mark seems to continually think that he never got. He was one of our prior podcast hosts, and our guest, and he always feels like he gets stiffed on the podcast.
Oh my
time.
God, such a baby.
So, what's the ideal time? I mean, it's 11 p.m. and this is prime time for my brain. So perfect.
Well, pretty same with Phil.
Awesome.
I mean, it's 8 o'clock me. Like, I'm in Vancouver, so I think actually we probably did this to accommodate me. I'm not too sure why we did that. Maybe it was dinner time or something.
I have no idea.
I don't know. Anyway, I appreciate it. I'd rather do it than 11 o'clock my time.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So we have a pretty cool guest on today. We have David Linton on. As always, we started and kind of got into it. So you already know David collects Garbage Pail Kids stuff. If you need anything, we'll hook you up.
Tons.
One of the things that we've been talking about on the show a ton is, the pandemic and COVID and businesses and how they're all affected. We'll get David to introduce himself in a second, but it's definitely, he's got an unusual story because of Dave and his background and what Parachute, his company, is doing. But his current venture is super cool, and I think is super relevant to particularly small business and restaurants. And what he's doing, I'm hyped about it. I think it's super cool. So, Dave, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me. I love what you guys do, so happy to be a part of it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you want to tell the guys a little bit about you and about Parachute? And
Sure, yeah, I'd love to. So,
yeah,
I mean, all of my professional career, I've been in software. So, I'm kind of at the 2-decade mark now, where at 20 years old, I take a year off of university with an internship program, and started a startup fintech software company.
Okay.
So it was really at that time that, I jumped into software without any real prior background. I'm kind of in a business program. I'm thinking accounting or something else, but decided to take this sort of chance on a startup in a really interesting field, obviously. So the same day I started this internship, I began working with my now future business partners. We kind of started this company at the same time, and just looked and kind of, getting to know each other, said, how could we build off of each other's complementary skills, where, I have a business background and, more the kind of real end user kind of thinking, whereas, the software developers have that real logical kind of, analytical thinking from the development perspective. So it really, working in that field and in a startup really kind of informed us of, how do we want to go to market? And, you didn't need huge teams or anything like that. It was build an idea. I mean, we're talking, this is, 2001 or so, and trying to figure out, how do we start that first project? So really, started thinking about that, worked through a couple of ideas, and built our first software project in 2005 as a replacement for an existing system managing a car donation program. So where people sign up online, they, donate their car, they get a tax receipt for that, and that's connected into a bunch of auto recyclers that are taking those cars and making, some money off of those.
Okay.
So really a really cool, circular economy kind of thing that brought us into the environmental space, which was, really, my driving passion now and is then and is now as well. And from there, it really, started to grow our business really organically. All these companies that were kind of involved in this program were doing other environmental programs. And, from there, we just sort of took every opportunity that came our way and kind of did what we did with this first project was just, build really easy to use tools that, were very simple for the end user and make it, as simple as possible to deploy it. And I think, that's where, if anyone kind of talks about Parachute to this day, it's like, they're just really easy to work with. And I think we take out the, trying to make it very complex for the customer and just say, what, we'll just, give you the easy parts of you're just going to use a simple software. We'll deal with all the complexities in the back end. And that's been really, really helpful for us as we've navigated into, further into the environmental space and really kind of zeroed in on being a software and a major player in the energy efficiency space. So that's, any program that is designed to improve existing measures, whether that is, lighting in businesses, whether it's incentives for improving your windows or your insulation or, HVAC systems. That's now really where we've played significantly, and a really, interesting field. It's basically, the idea of the negawatt, which is a Rocky Mountain Institute kind of thing, which is saying, the energy that you don't use can be really considered a source of energy. It's really just saying,
Okay.
Instead of actually creating or requiring energy, we're actually taking a bunch of different load off the grid, and that, creates jobs. It, stimulates the economy, and it also really helps reduce emissions and sort of help the local electricity grid. So, really still interested and excited about that, and we've grown ourselves in that, but we really have now pivoted just to.
Hang on, so can I pause there? I just want to make sure.
Absolutely.
So that's software for guys like Toronto Hydro, like those sorts of like utility companies, but like software that bridges between consumer and the business. Is that kind of the way to think of it?
Yeah. So it would be any of those programs, run by the utility companies, run by, provincial agencies, usually with some sort of, government assistance on the incentive side, to bring those types of programs to customers, to businesses, to basically make it easy for them to make decisions on those types of, capital investments that are helping them save energy.
Cool. Very cool.
Keep talking, Phil. I have nothing input. I'm just listening. I'm thinking,
I guess
I'm always trying to know how people go down these paths. Holy
I was going to say that too, right? Because I just think it's cool. Like, we're kind of like two old retail guys. We talk about this, right? But this is like, what? You can do this. This is a thing, and it's kind of amazing, right?
It's a really dynamic industry. I'm glad, and I feel like we've sort of fell into it. I mean, I'd love to say that it was our plan all along to target this industry, but we kind of just followed the opportunities that were presented to us, and did really good work that just kind of spawned additional other work. So that's the kind of focus where we've been operating, and through that we've built up a really dynamic software platform, because it incorporates so many different aspects, where there's a big customer relationship management perspective of bringing all this customer data into a system that we're going to be constantly communicating with them, marketing to them with all these different opportunities and programs. And then the project tracking side of, someone is going to, take on a project to do an upgrade of windows or insulation, and tracking all that detail, bringing in the contractors that are doing that work, managing what the incentive values are. And then, where the complicated part comes in is, what does that energy savings actually look like in terms of calculation? So what incentives should be offered? What's the energy savings? What's the greenhouse gas emissions that we're actually taking off the grid by, replacing or upgrading your attic insulation from X to Y, which, has some variables in it as well. And then, the reporting aspects of this, when you're talking about huge sums of money and government programs, you have to get really, sophisticated with that. So that's, the technical infrastructure that we've had to build as a result of all of these different programs coming online. So
like that stuff is like, so I think that's really cool, right? Like I think, like Kenny, I'm thinking of, and Dave, you're going to tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking of things like when your local utility says, hey, sign up here and get a free Nest, because you can, we can show you how to save energy and all that kind of stuff. You're a part of those sort of programs where not only are you tracking,
like, as an end consumer, like, so when someone comes up and says, listen, you know what, you should upgrade the windows in your house. Let's say I had an old house. It would be as a result of you talking to, whether it's BC Hydro or Fortis or whoever it is, and saying, listen, you know what, we could save energy for the province, or electricity or whatever. Is like, you would be the guys in the back end, generating the models that'll crank out, if you did this, you get X dollars savings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Shit, man, that's cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's been a really fast moving industry. I mean, it's one of those things when we first got into it, it wasn't something that you typically hear out of politicians' mouths. You'd have to explain what energy efficiency was. And I feel like now that we've moved past that, where I think people know what the industry is. We're seeing a lot of talk about a green recovery, which now is focusing a lot on this type of energy efficiency type program. So, from that perspective, it is, a big growing industry that we've been able to sort of grow with. So I think that's where, starting in pretty modest beginnings and being able to sort of build into that type of environment was really helpful for us. So, I mean, we were, a bootstrap company where we were moonlighting when we were first getting started, taking jobs wherever we could. As a result of that, I kind of always work from home. So you kind of were asking me earlier, it's like, what does work from home for you? What does the pandemic look like? And like, from the working perspective, it doesn't change much. We've been working from home our entire careers and doing Parachu.
We've said that I think Kenny and I are both very lucky like that too. We have the luxury of working pretty much from wherever we want to, right? So
thank God. And I really like it.
I really
like it.
It's been really good.
Unlike you guys, though, I started much later in this sit-at-home thing. I do like it, though. I didn't think I would, but it's awesome.
Okay, so complex software systems, taking things that honestly scramble my brain a bit. You said kilowatt, and I kind of went, but all of that, and then you've kind of taken like a full left turn, right? In some ways, in terms of what you're kind of building now, which is, kind of why we asked you to come on this show, right? Because you've got something new that you're building that I'm kind of excited about. Do you want to tell them what that is, or you want me to take a crack at it? Or
I'll start. I'm sure we'll get into lots of discussion around it because it is really interesting. And you say it's this sort of big change, and it is in the industry perspective, the marketing side certainly, and where we're playing and sort of learning more about the industry. But I think in our heads, and this really came from our software developer kind of said, what else can we do with this? Because we have this platform. Can I take a crack at a few things? It was just like, absolutely, yeah. I mean, why would we say no to sort of offering something else? Yeah. So from a technical perspective, we said we could do that pretty simply, move from tracking these energy efficiency programs to now offering an online ordering component to it. And I think, the excitement for me is...
Because Kenny and I would say that too, like, let's do that. Come on. Tomorrow. Like,
trying to get you to turn the lights off and logical to me to go right to delivery systems.
Absolutely.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, I think
that's what we do every day, Phil.
Yeah.
And that's a great kind of example of that kind of analytical thinking of the software developer. Is just like they can see sort of the back end and how a system works and just say, okay, well, at the core of it, it's, data and processing and all these types of things that we know we have. We know we've built the ability to kind of manage and change things that we have in the system and just say, okay, well, we change a few labels in the system. It already handles all these things. We build a couple other components to it and, we have this available. And this is, a couple months worth of work. I mean, we're not talking, we're some startup trying to figure out how to build this big system that is going to handle, financial transactions and menus and all these different things that we're now into. It wasn't a significant changeover in terms of the technical aspect of it. And I think the part that really gets me excited and what, I have a lot of passion towards is, these are small businesses that we're now trying to help, much like ourselves. Whereas now, like I said, we're working in programs that are typically, run by government agencies or utilities. So, just a different type of mindset, and not in a bad way at all, but, we're very much operate like a small business and, lots of hours and kind of putting the time into to make sure we're doing what we need to do. And that's, that's a persona of the small business restaurant owner, right? So I think that's where, I get really excited to being able to help those types of businesses, kind of connect with them and offer them an online ordering platform that, to be honest, it's not anything new. We're not, creating any groundbreaking system. They are out there, but the surprising thing is just how few restaurants have sort of adopted it. A lot of them have done that, easy choice of, I'm going to go to the Uber Skip model because I think everyone wants delivery, and that's the system that has been in my face and marketed to me. And I think there's a really big disconnect between, obviously the benefits of that are a question mark, in terms of how much percentage they take. So from, the opportunity perspective,
it's expensive, man.
We said,
skip the dishes.
So
is expensive.
Yeah, it's just, So it certainly generates more revenue, but not a lot of profit. So if the question is it worth the effort of these businesses that aren't really building loyal customer base, right? They're building the app, the app customer base that wants a certain type of food and orders it, and the restaurant is almost separated from that decision. So I think where we were interested in this is, we all know our local restaurant that we love that we still have to call into to place our order, and we might have to wait an hour and a half to get the food.
Yeah.
Because it's great food. They're great people. That's our staple kind of place. So it's really hitting those types of restaurants. That the number right now, the last number I read was 40% of restaurants have an online ordering component to them. So that, is a pretty shocking number that, that just
it's really low.
System doesn't exist to do that.
8-9 months into a pandemic, right? It's funny, right? So one of the things that Kenny and I were lamenting at the beginning of this process was, helping some of these small guys when the pandemic first hit. We said to a lot of these guys, look, forget it, right? Like if you were on the process of building a website, trying to build a cart, blah, 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 we're here now. So you got to do what you can do, right? So if that's getting a phone number and doing it old school, like call in, write anything down, run the bag out, get a machine to swipe, so be it, right? Because you got to stay in business, you got to make some money. But it's shocking that 8 or 9 months into this, we're still at, like a 40%, like 40%.
An industry that's taken a beating, though. Think about it. Yeah. They've been open, close, open, close. Yeah. Pay for your people, don't pay for your people. Get a rent subsidy, don't get a rent subsidy. So if you're sitting in as a restaurant, really, what do you know how to do? You know how to make food for people when they come in. You don't know shit about delivery. That's why unless you're a pizza place or something where it does delivery. If you're a normal sit-down restaurant prior to COVID, what did you care if it was online or delivery or anything like that? It wasn't even in your wheelhouse. And then when this hits and you don't know if you're going to be open or not, I think the last thing they're thinking about is unfortunately something that what David's offering, which is probably a great idea, but it's understandable to some degree. I mean, I come from, I don't come from the restaurant business, but we own a small coffee bar, right? At that point, the last thing you're just thinking, how do I survive?
Yeah. Okay.
That's right. Fair. That's just so from my perspective, that's how I see it. So it's one of those industries that if you want an industry that took a shit kicking, food service.
Yeah.
Took a shit kicking.
It's bad.
Still taking it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That one's hard too, right? Because the thing is the consumer really wants to help.
They want to support local. Everybody wants the guy to be there or the girl to be there 3 months from now when hopefully we get out of this gong show. Right? Is that you want them to still be around?
No, but so I was telling Dave this story. I have a local pho place down the street from me. We've been going there for years, right? He's one of these like you wouldn't know him from Adam. He's a pho 99. They all have numbers. He's a pho 99. He's down the street from me. He doesn't have anything. He doesn't have a menu online. I can barely get through on the phone. And then when I get through on the phone, I'm using his competitor's menu, that's like 15 kilometers away, who has a menu up. So it'll help me navigate to what I can get from him, right? Because sometimes I remember some of the numbers, I remember the other numbers, but if I don't tell him the right description, he doesn't know what I'm talking about, right? So I'm reading his competitor's menu online to tell him what I want so I can go pick it up, right? Because I know if I pick it up from him, because the first time we ordered Skip the Dishes from his competitor, it came in we have 5 in our family as well. And I think it was like $95, right? And I remember going, $95 for pho? Like what?
Buy the restaurant.
I'm all for the small business, but I think that's like 3 pho meals, right? So when I called him, it was like $70, right? For 5 of us, right? And all of a sudden I was like, okay, this feels a little bit higher. He's probably added a bit more, but at least I feel good because nobody else is taking this money. It's his, right? I just it's guys like that, right? That you want.
Well, you want them to have something. So Dave, what exactly do you do then? First, let me start this way. I'm dying to know, so what did you do? Did you wake up one morning and went online, did some calculations? Because I'm sure your brain works that way and says, oh my God, only 40% have a online, I have to fix that. Or did you sit there and look at your local guy, said, I've got to go and see that. Like, what the hell makes you get down this path?
He got tired of Phil telling the pho story, so he's like, son of a, I'm just going to.
God damn it, I'm going to build web pages or
damn
something, or get these people online.
Stop that story. I'm going to write some software and I'll get rid of this guy.
So really, I mean, that's great, but what motivated? Like, what did you see that nobody else saw?
I'd love to
and
say
what are you
that,
doing?
I honestly didn't know that stat before I got into this. I mean, anecdotally, I sort of assumed it was like that, but we got into this knowing there was an opportunity, and I've done a lot of the research, frankly, to have something to talk about on this podcast. Because I mean, to us, this is just similar to how we got started. Is let's just see what we can do with this. It's not like we're starting building a new software. It's not a huge change for us. It's something we're passionate about. We've always been successful when we've had the opportunity to kind of showcase what we can do. So it has just been this kind of, again, plan to have a bit of a grassroots type of kind of build out, just kind of say, let's get this going. And we know how to kind of build our network organically and kind of find the different ways to get this out into the market. So I mean, the system is really meant to be that link from someone's website or their social media feeds to take them to a page that doesn't look anything different from their website, but has their menu completely digitized with the ability to order online. And there's nothing revolutionary about it. It's going to look a lot like ordering from Skip and Uber and whatever else, but again, it is trying to, as much as possible, have all that different technology available to the restaurant that Skip and Uber would have, but at a significantly lower cost. And it's not something where we have plans to hire third-party contractors and offer delivery. If the restaurant wants to sort of manage that themselves, and we'd certainly be like, we can manage the process to do delivery, but it's not something right now that we would be wanting to get into that space. I mean, that's just a space for big players that have hundreds of millions of dollars to put into lobbying, subcontracting laws in California and whatnot, which is something that, we just don't have any interest in sort of playing in that.
What am I doing with you? So you come, I have, let's say I have a small restaurant, and like Phil said, realistically, what is probably the menu is Phil and Dave going in the week before, saying, this place is pretty good, getting their phones out, shooting a bunch of pictures, putting it up on Google. I find them, I throw them on my page, or you throw them on my page for me. And that's the extent of my menu. And provided you guys come in regularly and update your pictures, my menu is probably pretty good for a while. So you're looking at someone like that and you're saying, listen, okay, I can take your menu, digitize it, and someone can sit at home and look at your menu and order for pickup, or
correct?
What?
Yep.
Or order before I come in, maybe because it's COVID and I don't want to have any time delay, and I'd rather spend more time eating and less time talking because I'm worried about COVID. So can I order at home and say I'll be there in half an hour for my reservation and the meal's almost ready to go? Like I'm trying to figure out what sort of the mechanics are.
So right now we've kind of looked at that opportunity to say, let's have a pickup, a curbside kind of pickup option that's available through the site, which, the restaurant is then managing on their side all of these online orders that are coming in that, again, are just linked from their own restaurant website. So that, just allows them then to receive all the different orders that come in, manage whatever they need to do, and then, indicate, it's going to be half an hour, it's going to be 40 minutes, whatever it's going to be. So they're managing the timing of when the communication goes out to the customer. Says, the delay time currently is 40 minutes, it's going to be ready at this time. And that ongoing kind of communication that you'd have, whether it's email or text that says, restaurants received it, they've confirmed it, here's your pickup time, come in and pick up your food. And having an online payment option, again, that would be available to the restaurant. So it is, trying to create this contactless type of pickup that is kind of required now, or at least kind of desired by certain people. So, all that is managed in our system, and it's something we can set restaurants up with in a few hours. So that's I think the theme that we're going with is it's simple. And I think we completely respect, because I certainly do from sitting in the software industry for lots of years, you know, obviously working in restaurants growing up and understanding them, but not truly have an appreciation for what it takes to, you know, manage your staff, manage ordering, manage cooking food, manage doing all these things that, you know, to me, that's really daunting. To those guys, you know, a software system to manage online ordering. Yeah, sure.
Exactly.
I'm missing lots of things. But they would have the same thoughts about software. It's really daunting to think about, you know, another system that does online ordering that I'm going to have to sort of manage. But to us, that's simple. We can get you up in a few hours. We'll, you know, show you how things come in, which is similar to how all, you know, other orders.
But are you tying into my shitty webpage? See, I guess I could. Listen, you got to, because you guys. Well, Phil's techie too. Like, you guys live in a different space, right? So you're right. You talk to people, and we're thinking, well, fuck, I don't know what the hell you. First off, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. So what are you going to do? You're going to tie into my webpage. My webpage sucks, maybe, or I don't even know who did my webpage. I don't even know how to do anything on my webpage. So what are you going to do? You're going to just do some stuff on my webpage, and then what am I doing in the restaurant or the bar or wherever I am? Because you're right. Honestly, you talk like that and you're thinking, listen, I can make you a cappuccino. I can make you a sandwich. I can make you a plate of pasta. But, you know, Control Alt Delete. That's the technical, or turn it off and on, one of the two.
Right. So the order page would be on our side. So it's, you know, we don't need to necessarily do anything with your website other than link to a page that is going to
so
have
that it clicks over to you. Nice and clean, tidy, beautiful little space. So we don't look like idiots.
Branded just like your restaurant is, with everything that you'd expect.
Probably better than our webpage.
Probably. and I mean, so that is
interesting.
I think a certain.
Are you limited to web pages? Sorry, Dave. Are you limited to web pages, or because you had talked about like
Instagram or Facebook
feeds, like that sort of thing? So like if a restaurant doesn't necessarily, or you have a shitty web page that you don't necessarily
Many have a Facebook page, Phil. Maybe they don't even have a web page. It's true. The Facebook page is their web page. Like it's on a platform. That is their web page.
We've got restaurants here that's how I order, right? I'll go through, because they don't have another way. So it's Facebook Messenger, you know, and then, you know, which is really weird, but you know, it's what works for them right now, right?
I know, but it's so bizarre. It's such an old backward system. It's almost like it's almost like Post Notes or a 4-part.
It's not amazing, right?
Speedy memo.
Like there's still nowhere to put a menu, right? So I got to go to the web page, look at the menu, go back to Facebook Messenger, and you know, like I totally get it, right? And you, it's a legitimate point. Is like, you know, for business, like Porchetta rolled down the street for me, they're literally mom and pop, right? And so mom is cooking, pop is serving. Who's going to go figure out the web shit, right? Like it's not happening, right? So
and even if they did, the
know?
Menu is literally, it's an iPhone. You shoot the menu that's sitting on the table and you put the picture up. What else are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
That's the menu.
I get it.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to understand is how do you get to these people? Wow.
Yeah, but it's neat because it's simple, right? Like it's really simple. But yeah,
well, for the restaurant, it sure is. All you have is a link.
Yeah.
And you can link off so you can link off Instagram, Facebook, or like a web page. I'm assuming that's where most people are
anything you can click, basically sends you to
and
a website.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and it's sort of, you know, do we create an app? Do we not create an app? And I just don't see someone pulling up an app and having the, you know, that scale that says, here's all your restaurants that are on us. So, you know, it's you're scrolling through, you're hungry, you're scrolling through your social media feed, you see something, you're like, yeah, I should order from them. Click, and you're ordering food.
Or I just know, Dave said there's a pho restaurant down the street. I go online, I find it, I click on it. Like you said, honestly, it's probably going to be a shitty web page, but there's this really slick order here button or something where I think, and then you click on it and you go to your guys' world. I think that would be huge. For small business, that's big because they're not going to spend the time on that. They're just not.
The link to even Google, right? Like, I mean, how many restaurants do you look for in Google? Search them up, and then to be able to click the instead of the website, like the Shop Now button.
Exactly.
That Google's starting to put up everywhere. That itself is, you know, because you can teach your business to claim their site on Google in about 10 minutes, right? Like, so no, really, right? Like that is, you know, it is that simple, right? So you claim it. You don't have to put up shit all. Half the restaurants don't have information. Users wind up doing it later. But as long as you've got a link to the page, now you're ordering, right? Like that's how.
So half don't have web pages. Seriously.
No, but
Half
but
you'll
what I'm
find them
saying
on Google,
is,
and that's you'll get
if
directions
you
or
can
call.
find them on Google, but if you can find them on Google, you can stick the
Exactly.
button there, and then they're gone. Like so, and then they can order. They don't need a web page.
Like, how cool is that? Like, seriously.
Wow. That's
So you
kinda
can
cool.
do that. So that's what you can do. So let's say I am one of those restaurants that all it says is directions to, because I think Google provides that.
Mhm.
A call to, which I don't know how the hell is, small business. I don't know how that got
Mhm.
there, but there's a phone number. Like it's sort of all built in because you don't have a web page. You don't know how this stuff
Yeah.
got. Someone did
Yeah.
it for me.
Yeah.
But you could put like a shop here or a order here button there,
Mhm.
and yeah, that's huge, man. For small restaurants, that's freaking massive. Half don't have web pages. Like they just don't.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
I would say that
Wow.
for me personally, I mean, I am extroverted enough that I'm really looking forward to getting back into sitting in these restaurants. So part of it is just making sure that these guys survive through it. So I have the
Absolutely.
ability to do that,
Absolutely.
right? And, we see the numbers of just, the delivery services and the takeout numbers are going through the roof, even aside from pandemics. And that's just, changing societies and whatnot. But I certainly out of this look forward to sitting in restaurants and hopefully we can sort of keep as many of the great mom and pop restaurants still available to us by kind of offering something that is affordable to them to sort of continue operating.
Well, Google, let's say like so. Google, Uber and Skip are really not helping necessarily, to be very frank with you, as you guys both know, because that dinner for 4 in the restaurant was $50.
Yeah.
They want 30%. The poor guy sitting there, shit, I can't.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's a $75 menu because they're covering all these other expenses. It's now made them super expensive relative to what you might have remembered a while ago when you sat in there. So if you could help get away from that system, which we talked about this, I think last week, Phil, or the week before, where people don't seem to have this, the propensity to get off your butt and go to a shop doesn't seem to be massive right now because people are looking for an excuse to get out of the house, but don't necessarily want to sit in the restaurant. So if you had an easy way to order from my local restaurants who don't have web pages, and I'm serious, a lot of them don't. It's literally you find them on Google and it'll be a phone number, directions, and a phone number might even be a lucky, right? Where if you could have a button there where you could say, order here. Like I think there's a lot of small businesses to be just like thinking, oh my God, you are a tech god. Like you've just that's the sky's opening up.
It's a big deal, right? It's a big deal.
Huge.
Like it's
huge.
Yeah.
And to your point, it will save them. Wow.
So how's it going?
Yeah.
I mean, I would say in general, based on how we grew as Parachu, we've always been this kind of upstart that's just kind of grown through word of mouth and whatnot. So we've always been really bad at marketing. We've kind of just said, we're going to trust that the people that we work with are going to kind of speak on our behalf and know that we've done great work. And that's always worked for us. So, it's an interesting dynamic for us because, we're coming into a completely new space. So, I mean, I guess I can tell you that because this is brand new for us, we started with our first restaurant maybe 2 weeks ago, so it's just started building from this point. And, unlike me, I feel like we're generally all pretty humble guys. So I don't kind of post a lot of details about the kind of interesting work we're doing. But obviously wanted to get the word out and was really happy and proud and wanted to even promote the restaurant that we had first started with. And immediately sort of, saw the kind of world that I don't know too much about. And that is kind of phone blowing up from kind of social media. So just, people that I had worked with years ago, maybe not even in the Parachu context, saying you got to talk to this person. And everyone knows someone that's struggling, I guess. So the response has been really great. The feedback that we get when we show people is, okay, well, that's great. I mean, it doesn't take long for us to set something up where we can show you, here's your restaurant and here's your menu. So you can start now if you'd like. And it's really simple to show. It's as simple as going on, ordering, and checking out, and here's what it looks like for you. And I think what gets me really excited is what's beyond this, right? So online ordering, getting the order, processing it and completing it, that's all great. But I think in the world that we live in, we're really interested in where do we take this now? because we now are going to build all this data and just give that to the customer. And this is one of the things that, restaurant owners, aside from being
So
taken
exciting.
on
Yeah.
the percentage side,
Yeah.
is they're really creating a disconnect with their customers. They don't have as easy access to all this customer data because it's stored in Uber and Skip and all these other systems.
Right.
So it's not like they can easily go and say, who are all my customers? When did they order? What is all this kind of information that I have from them? And how do I directly contact them now and offer them, additional promos?
It's probably going
How
to
do
cost
I,
them. It's probably going to cost them a lot of money.
Sure,
too.
it's easy. You go from 30% now to 40%.
Yeah.
Or 50%. Oh, that's come on. The game is super easy.
Yeah,
They're just going to gouge you that much more. Pretty soon, your FOD's going to be about $300 for beef and water for 4. It's going to be insanity, but that's how it's going to work. So really, if you could find a way to help people out that way, I mean, it's big. Wow.
Yeah, and
pretty
I think
interesting.
That is working,
promising.
from our perspective of, we really know data well, we know reporting well, we're learning everything that we can learn about. Well, how do we add AI and machine learning that makes sense? It's helping those restaurant owners kind of make the most out of their marketing efforts. And that's, then connecting with marketing professionals like yourselves to say, how are we going to take all this information that we now just, are full rights. It's the restaurants. It's not ours. We're not doing anything, untold with it. We're saying, we have all this information now. We're going to help you sort of, build out your restaurant. So that's the future that I'm really excited about, because it kind of allows us to focus on our strengths.
Me too.
Of,
yeah.
we're really
cool.
good at data. We know all like, how to make reports and all this. And,
Yeah.
it's not like restaurants don't have it. The small ones certainly struggle with it. It's just, it's not served to them in a way that they can understand it and know how to action it, right? I mean, they're working a 14-hour day. It's not like they're going to start going into their POS system and try and search through to find reports that are helpful to them that inform them of how to potentially improve on their business. So that's where I the future to us is really bringing that aspect of
well, the data and the information is obviously what that's what's going to make or break you. As that small person, if you get to know your customers and you can tap into your customers because they obviously are loyal to you, they're coming to you, or you can figure out who the loyal ones were. That's the money. That's how you survive.
But it's bigger than that too, because you also have like this evolving pandemic situation where, like, I don't know about you guys, right? I still get the local, I live in Mississauga, so I get Mississauga news kind of landing on my doorstep.
We don't get
that thing. I don't touch that thing, right? Because I don't know, like I'm now petrified to touch anything that I didn't sterilize, right? So I don't touch it, but that's how local restaurants are still advertising, right? Is they are shotgunning the approach by going porchetta roll down the street. I'm going to blanket the 2-kilometer area around me with flyers and coupons so that people come here. But in truth, if you had Skip or Uber, you should have data, right? And then coming through you guys, you now have data that allows you not to, like, one, throw paper away that probably no one's going to read now. And then two, be able to reach these people digitally to like prompt them, right? In the same way that CPG companies like Procter & Gamble, Unilever, J&J, we've been doing it for years, right? Where you realize like, hey, you know what? Like Kenny's a Neutrogena guy and Dave's an Aveeno men's guy. So I'm not sending them the same brochure. I'm sending them different coupons, knowing that these guys are going to redeem them if I get it, absolutely right. So, Porchetta Roll can now do the same thing. I mean, I ordered from there. They can come back to me and go, listen, you ordered like every Tuesday, you order the same thing. Do you want me to just slot you in every Tuesday at 5:30, right? Like I can do that. Then you don't have to worry about it, right? Because one Tuesday you're going to go, oh shit, I didn't order. Like, what the hell am I going to do now for dinner, right? So if you want, every Tuesday, we know you come back here. So I'll book that order. I'll send you a reminder. You don't got to worry about it. If I'm part of your dinner routine now, you know what I mean? Like there's
tons of ways to tap into.
Oh my gosh, there's so many examples, right? Like,
see, and I don't know what else you've thought of, Dave, but like Phil and I were talking last week. We had Flip on,
Yeah.
And Flip is a great mechanism, but really and truly geared to size. Like you have to have size, right? There are
Yeah.
so many. Just get out of restaurants and for 2 seconds. You know, you think of a lot of the mom and pops, corner grocers, all family run and owned.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, a flyer or a weekly
Yeah.
periodical or just weekly specials becomes that much easier. You go online, you look for a local grocer on your street, and it's again, they don't have the web page. Lucky to find directions and a phone number, but shop here or something to that effect, where I could have all of a sudden my little corner grocer is now looking like a Loblaws or a Sobeys with that kind of technology sort of thing, and they really haven't done anything. Because if you want to scare people, go to a small grocer with technology like that, you'll freak the hell out of them. Like they'll panic, right? Because they'll be thinking, oh my God, that means I've got to have, they're thinking all the Shopifys and all the million other things, as opposed to just a nice link, a quick, you know, here's the top 50 items that you would need to get through
Pantry
the week, whatever that
builder,
means.
milk,
Whatever.
eggs, bread.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the application becomes the restaurant and things, I think is critical right now because, like, I don't know about in Toronto, but we've lost, I think, 6,500 businesses since COVID, just in the city, like the Vancouver proper, never mind Burnaby and Coquitlam. We've lost a lot of businesses, and that's just a start, right? When these monies start to dry up, it's going to be a shit show.
It's going to be bad.
It's just going to be a shit show. I mean, the reason most of us are surviving, like our coffee bar survives because the owners aren't that bright. And two, like we actually do get some subsidy help with wages, et cetera. So you can stay open and lose money, but not get killed and keep some kids employed and hope to get, when we're out of this, maybe not in a brutal spot. But, you know, there's mom and pops in little health food stores, vitamin shops, little clothes boutiques. They're closing like lightning fast because they can't do it. And they can't compete with Loblaws or Old Navy or whoever it is.
Yeah.
So like, I'm thinking of your applications, like you start looking for, like, honestly, flyers or anything like that where they just don't have it. Like,
Dave's writing them down. He's going to do them tomorrow.
You could go crazy on this thing. It's the same. Hey, I know tech now. I've listened to you guys. It's like that. Same. I just heard that. Same.
Yeah, I mean,
although I know,
because it isn't just restaurants, right? It is any products, really, right? So it is just
think of those services
to add any of those types of products online that they can order, and you know that turns into, you know, potentially managing inventory and everything, and that's all things that we have done, right? So it all kind of connects back in our heads, at least on the technical side of, that's just plug it into this part of our system that we're now exposing to our customers. So yeah, I think like you said, it's simplicity cool. is the sort of theme that we would go with, you know, just being really easy to work with, and offering those, you know, really quality technology platforms that the big guys have. I mean, it's not like there's a difference really from feature function standpoint from what they're having with what yours are. So you're trying to compete on a level playing field, really.
So let me ask you, because I didn't quite understand it. So just so I understand the back end, because I'm in the restaurant or potentially
Kenny, you said
this
back
store
end.
now.
Did you hear that? You kind of like just dropped that in there. That was like
I told you.
Listen, that was software speak. You literally went, look.
I don't have to comprehend. I just listen to you guys.
I want to go to a stand up and I want to look at the back end of things. Like,
okay, I sounded like I actually knew something.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm sitting in my place of work. And Dave's at home and says, you know what? Shit, I'm going to order some food or some groceries now because we've expanded into a different a segment of retail. He sits at home and he types away and hits send, I'm assuming, or something to that effect. And it goes where? At the store?
Basically where you want it to go. So based on that, we can send you a text, we can send you an email, and then it will be in a software system that you have up on a tablet or up on your computer. So it could be so old school. It could come to my Gmail. It could come to, like, I'm thinking or it could come to, like, can you tie to Touch Bistro? I mean, I don't know if you can or can't, or not right now,
like
but
that?
Certainly those are all the kind of things that again, we're really comfortable with, right? Is just how do you connect systems?
I know you are. I think on the other side, the front end now.
Yeah. So, I mean, that is certainly something that makes a lot of sense, right? Is to basically tie those systems together. And right now that doesn't happen with Uber and Skip. I mean,
No.
unless they're using, another system that basically talks to the POS, and right now they're receiving it just like they would our system, which is they get the tablet, they see all the different details, and then they, type it into their POS and they inform the kitchen.
But
So
for you guys, it'd be so simple. It's an iPad sitting there and as low tech as just coming to my email. That could be as low tech as that. So I could sit, I mean, I'm thinking for these small business people are thinking, I can cook you up a storm, but shit, accepting cash, I got to find somebody because I don't know, where do you push the buttons on this till thing, or, they don't know how to do it. But if it's a simple process, it comes in email, they almost get printed off on a small printer. You take it to the back, make the order, or order of food or order of groceries or whatever. Like simple. Don't have to reinvent the wheel. I don't have to go buy a ton of equipment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then you got winner chicken dinner, because that's typically another stumbling block, right? You got to bring all this extra software in or all this hardware, and I'm thinking, come on, guys, I've got a till here, I've got this here, I got there's only so much space. I can barely understand what I'm doing now. Never mind all this extra complexity. But if you can make it that simple, shit.
That's cool.
I can see grocers. I honestly feel like I can see a lot of the corner grocers or corner dollar stores or anybody like that would make it. This would be very, very simple for them, without having to go to a complex web page or anything like that. Just simple.
And then
pet stores.
I think. Yeah, I think pet stores is one of those really big ones, and then corner stores being able to almost on the other side be really creative about, because Kenny and I talked about this too, is like, when you're in pandemic times, we might be less in there now, right? But we've had local grocers. I've had local grocers around me go, listen, I packed up a box of seasonal greens. You don't want to shop through my store because you don't want to be around other people. Come in and grab this. It's $30, gets you everything you need for kind of like 7 to 10 days groceries, right? Like in terms of veggies, pick that box up and go. And so now, because the other part, the complexity in the grocer thing to me is like, how many SKUs do you list, right? Like, there's complexity in like, reams and days or pages and pages of data. Not that Dave can't do it. It's more, how do you properly articulate romaine lettuce versus, like and all the digital merchandising that you need to make things go. But I do see these sort of things being really quick. Like now a convenience store a corner store be able to say, listen, my top 50 most popular items are these. I'm just going to throw these on there.
That's all I would do. Or my top 10 this week, Phil.
Yeah,
I've got a good price on apples. I got a good price on bananas and on steak and something else. Just that's it.
Yeah.
Because you're not trying to fulfill. What you're trying to do is to stop Dave from coming in and wandering the store when he doesn't want to because he's scared of COVID.
Yeah.
But he knows that these key things, and I've got a good price this week. So if I save Dave 5 minutes at my store, Dave's just a happy guy.
Yeah.
Right.
And
he's supporting his local grocer.
Yeah. You're not giving it away to Walmart. You're not giving it away to
Loblaws or some shareholders.
Or Loblaws or
little people.
Yeah. I got it. Yeah.
Right. So I don't think it has to be complex. It has to be the same as a menu. If you got 50 items on a menu, 50 items on the grocer, 10 items, best 10 in the week, maybe just the weekly specials. And again, now you're talking like you said before. Now, you go for full every Tuesday. Well, hey, Phil, you know what? You're buying fruit every Friday. You're always buying apples and bananas. You know what? How about if I have that ready for you? And I'll tell you what, trust me on this one. The papayas this week are stupid. I'll put those in for you. Or something to that effect. You know what I mean? Like you can start doing some really cool, cool shit on that side. And those guys don't have the technology to do that. I mean, they don't. I mean, those old school grocers, if it was just a matter of an email, opening it up, oh my God, you'd be stellar. It's still probably scare them, but.
So if you guys had your pick, who would you have on Parachute? What do we call it? Parachute ordering?
As it's pretty new, we're still sort of working out what the name's going to be.
No fancy name yet.
Yeah, not yet. I mean, our the company Parachute Software, our software platform is called Drop Zone, which is just an ode to the kind of parachuting world. And I think we probably that name existed before Dropbox, so I guess that's what maybe how it gets the connotation to it. But yeah, it is just sort of that area where everything kind of goes. Where for us, it's customer information and all this data kind of gets dropped in. So that all works. On the restaurants kind of online ordering side, I'm not sure that we would go with that name, but we don't have a successor just yet.
So if you had a choice, who would you put on there? Like pure selfishness, local restaurant.
India Village is my absolute sort of favorite local restaurant that your classic mom and pop place, where I have to call now. They're closed between 2:30 and 4:30, and if it's a Friday or Saturday night, I'm calling at 4:20. That I'm hoping they got in there early, because if I don't catch them then, like I'm getting a busy signal. Yeah, I've missed it. And again, I have the 3 kids that are young. I can't be eating at 7:30. So if I call at 4:20, I'm hoping to get my meal by 5:30.
Right.
Because somehow people have gotten in ahead of me. So to me, the ability for all of these people to pre-order, or like you said, just this is my standing Saturday night meal, allows them to better utilize their time. It's not people on phones, typing things in. It helps the customer. I mean, I've been in there and people will come be like, yeah, just try to get on the phone. I drove here. I'm going to order. They're going to drive away and come back.
Yeah.
And that's, a testament to how good this food is.
Yeah.
But it's also, they're working for it. I mean, that's not a great customer experience necessarily, but it's absolutely worth it. So if you had that's, where, a lot of this came from. It was just like, I really want to help these people. They're, great people in the community. They have a great business. I want it to continue to operate, but, ideally they could change, be more efficient, first of all, and just sort of help better set up this. And even, the pickup, staggering pickup. So if it's, creating it a couple of minutes apart and, to come here and you're kind of just creating a better traffic flow, and, you don't have to pay, you come in, you pick it up and you're gone. And that just, to me, is a really efficient system. Everyone's going to be happy. Everyone's getting a meal, and they're obviously doing a significantly more business, because they're redeploying the people that are on the phones and all these other, things that are taking time to, just making food and kind of serving their customers. So that's my kind of dream.
What is it called? India what?
India Village, Lancaster and
India Village.
Dundas. Yeah.
We'll have to call them out. See
Very
if,
cool. Wow.
I don't think the podcast has that kind of sway, but
I can't pick up either, so it's not going to. And delivery is going to be super expensive.
Kenny, do you have a restaurant? If
you know what, Phil? I tell you the truth. I would. We have a butcher down the street that I would love to have them on for the reason we said before. Give me the top 25 cool things this week. We have a great Indian restaurant on the drive. Nice young people. I love them. Yeah. Great food. They cook their grandmother's recipe. I mean, I got like a dozen people that I think potentially could benefit, because I know that they just wouldn't have it set up.
Yeah.
As you're doing all the slick on the other side, and for them really just to open up an email, it's a ping, it's a text. Hey, you got an order? Like, shit, that is just dumbed down, nice and easy.
Yeah.
Like, really and truly. Right now, again, for those who want delivery, I guess it makes it. You can still pay Uber, I guess, and skip. But I think there's a lot of people. For my butchery, we don't go right now. You know why? Because the lineup on any given day could be 13, 14, 15 deep outside, and then it's 10 deep inside. Right. So it's an hour visit to. I mean, it's worth it, but it's a long bloody time. I'd rather be able to do it online, just pick up at the side window.
One of the things I love the most about pickup is it's kind of like so Dave, you have young kids. Kenny, you've had kids. Have you guys been to Disney?
Yeah. Then you can do sheets.
Not yet. So Disney has this really wonderful thing called a Fast Pass.
It's awesome.
That when you first see the sticker, you're like, what the I'm not paying for that. But there is so much joy because you walk up to any, name a ride, right? Like, it's a small world, right? Which is like 1,000 years old. It really isn't that amazing, but it's cool. Everyone lines up for it. It's like a 2-hour lineup.
Yep.
You get the Fast Pass, And the fast pass is like the lineup is down the left and you kind of just walk. And they're like, fast pass, go this way. And you're like, wow, this is a lot of people. Hey, we're at the front of the line. Oh, we're getting in the ride. And there are all these pissed off people behind you. Like, pickup to me is like...
It can be like that for that reason.
Like, it's amazing,
I always tell people it's like
right?
Goodfellas, right?
Like, yeah.
Goodfellas, when they go downstairs, walk through the kitchen, ends up...
Yeah.
That's exactly what that
Secret
feels
door
like.
and the...
And a pickup can be that way, right? Because, you just walk past, all these people are sitting on the street waiting in line. You just go to the side window, just wave to everybody goodbye as you've got your box of goodies on the go. Yeah. I can see your application. Like, seriously, I know you focus on restaurants, and I think that's awesome because they are hurting. They are hurting really bad.
Yeah.
But I think, because I'm also in the health industry, there's so many mom and pop health stores that are just taking an absolute shit kicking because they don't have grocery. And it's, if you're scared about going out, to cut one location because you can buy your vitamins or health needs maybe at a larger grocer or something, you know what I mean? Like they're not doing well. There's a lot of people out there that would probably benefit from something like this, especially because it does sound pretty simple. Like there's really nothing for the owner to do.
For sure.
And
I hope something that comes out of this is the ability to recognize the need to support small business. And, it's hard to feel confident that that's going to be the case because, it has turned into the simplest sort of solution wins, and that is online ordering. And it's kind of created this disconnect from your community, which is really sad. So this hopefully, allows it to kind of create the best of both worlds, right? Just create something that's really efficient, but you're still, connected to that local store. You're still going in, you're still seeing them. And that's
Dave, I think you can. I think there's a lot of people that don't like Skip and Uber right now. But what else do you have? Right? So if you're looking for ease and simplicity, they are very easy and simple to use. We know we're all paying more, and we know that the retailer or the restaurant's getting jammed. Mm-hmm. But there's not that 7,000 other options. I mean, how else do you do it?
Yeah. It's something interesting that's come up in Ontario is there's a bill, and I need to check if this is actually passed, where they've limited the percentage during the pandemic in places where indoor dining has been prohibited, where they can't charge more than 15% on the delivery side. Yeah. And you look at that, and it's not like they're running for the hills. It's not like they're like, okay, sorry, we can't operate in under those circumstances. Like, okay, well, I guess we'll kind of deal with that for the time being and kind of get back to it at some point. And so it is kind of that understanding that it is just, it's a massive corporation that's either, still making money or just willing to take the hit because they're not making what they used to. And it is kind of an indication that they're making the money.
That one really sticks in my craw though, right? Like, so yes. I kind of like, I didn't want to turn this into, a bash of any of the platforms or anything. But I guess the part that really bugs me about this stuff is I don't mind paying, right? Like, I know it's a service, I know that there's a benefit to me. I get joy because I can get my food and maybe I never have to get off my fat ass to get it. Cool.
Exactly.
But the part that really bugs me is how they bite you at both ends on this, right? And it's not transparent to me. This is, honestly, I'm trying not to like kind of go hog wild with this complaint, but I just like, intuitively, I know that the restaurant is paying more, or the restaurant has to charge more to cover what that is. So I'm paying for that, which I'm cool with, right? Because it's a local restaurant. I don't want them to go. I want them to be there. I love their food, all those things. But then when the delivery guy shows up, I'm paying for that too.
Yep.
And I guess I don't, like the marketing doesn't say that. The marketing kind of covers the, hey, you gotta, the extra charges for the delivery guy. And you're like, wow, maybe I should go be a delivery guy. Cause if I figure the margin here, like I think I want to get my car and drive around and deliver things, but it's not the case, right? Is they're pocketing a
the only one
margin.
winning, like, the only one winning is the guys.
Yeah, it's the middle guy there. Yeah,
that's the guy who's winning. Yeah. The restaurant, thank God, is staying open. You got a delivery person at least making a few pennies, but the guy making the crap load of money is the one who owns those apps. Yeah. And to your point, Dave, they're not sharing the information. And when they decide to share, they will share as long as you pay. Mm-hmm. right? So you're going to share, but you're going to get shared at a cost, right? Which is fine. Again, I get it. You know, there's reasons for that, and you could do the same. You could have your software up and running. After 3 or 4 months with all these restaurants, you could collect enough data and show them maybe how to use it and charge for a fee like that. And I think that'd be absolutely fair. You could bundle
I think they
it
gladly
in a way.
pay for it.
I tell you,
I think they pay for it, and I think they pay for a service to do it
100%,
because
100%.
like doing a restaurant doing email marketing or social media marketing, they're it's just not their thing, right?
It's
like
not.
I mean, most of the restaurants that have any sort of social media, it's being done by a teenager of one of the mom or pop or a cousin or
who really doesn't want to do it because they're just getting yelled at perpetually.
I've got I've easily got like 5 or 6 kids like under 20 where I know the restaurant, because they're easily 5 or 6 restaurants that I would love to see on this that have all said like, oh, you're a marketer. Can my kid call you? Because we're doing social media. We don't know what the fuck we're doing. Like, he seems to post a lot of stuff on social media. So we asked him to do it, right? And you talk to the kid and the kid's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm taking pictures.
I just take some pictures. I don't tell them what I'm doing.
I'm taking pictures of the same sandwich every time and putting it up. You're like, oh God, but
I just think it'd feel like your point on your email side though, right? Because these orders are coming in via email. Yeah. Like you could teach these people, say, listen, here's how to do now a cool email blitz. Yeah. To your 100 really great customers. Yeah, 100%. Like, there's just so much stuff you can do. I think it's great. I think the fact you're helping the small business more than anything, like I just get a kick out of it because honestly, right now, those other companies are making a crap load of money and good on them. Yeah. I'm not knocking them for that, but it's really hard for the guy at the that has to pay for that.
Yeah, I mean, I can say for our whole team, I think we all kind of have an extra spring in our step because we do feel like what we're doing matters, right? And
it does.
I think it did in all the other work we do, but this, just hits home a little bit more with people that are kind of, you see and are struggling. Awesome. So I think that's part of it of getting things going so quickly. It was just like, let's get this out there because we want to help these people and we want to see them succeed. So it's been really. Like a lot of passion going into it for sure.
Good for you.
If people want to find you, what's the best place to find you?
Good question. You can find us on our website, parachutesoftware.com. And LinkedIn would be a great way to connect with me, David Linton.
Okay. Unless you want garbage pail cards, and then you contact this Commerce Life, and we'll get you hooked up with Dave.
Absolutely, and it's for a small fee. Very small.
Right.
Thank you.
I haven't talked about garbage pail kids for years and years, but now for some reason it came up, and now it's just going to like reignite this sort of.
I bet you $50 tomorrow morning. You're going to be rocking around the house trying. Where the hell can I put those cards?
Yeah. You heard it here. Garbage pail kids are back. Exactly. They're hot. They're in trend. The only guy who has them is Dave. So,
I will put my collection on an online ordering site. You can pay online, and then I will. You can come to my house if you want, or I'll just deliver them to you, I guess.
Come by, visit, have a cup of coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
Dave, thanks for doing this. Yeah,
thanks
so much,
guys.
coming on.
Keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. It's really a pleasure to continue listening, guys. And
thanks, Dave. I'm glad you came on. I think what you're doing is really cool. Good for you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for small business people. Thank you.
All right. Well, I hope I can help as many as I can.
Absolutely. Can. Good job, man.
Okay.
Awesome.
Take care.
All right.
Thanks.
Take care. Thanks,
okay.
guys.
Good night. Bye.
You gonna stay on for a second, Phil?
Yeah.
Pretty cool, man.
That was
pretty cool. You know what I like about it, honestly? I mean, I know. It was probably. I love people. I can't. Can you tell? I just get baffled by how these people think. I just fucking drives me crazy.
Dude, it's amazing.
But
it's amazing.
And probably, all it was. They probably sat there one day and thought, geez, that poor restaurant. I think I got to make it easy for them to stay open. Oh, I'll just start this. Like,
I think so.
Shit like that.
I would like. I'm going to ask him next time I talk to him. I think he built it because he wanted that Indian restaurant to not go out of business.
I'm going to tell you the truth. I'll bet you the house that's why he did it. So God bless him. But now thinking, But think of it. Think that your province may be a little worse than ours right now because Ford's been pretty rough on you guys.
Yeah.
And rightly so, because again,
Yeah.
it is what it is. But there's been a lot of businesses shut down, small ones, that maybe could have done more of the buy online, pick up on store, which we've talked about. But the complexity of that software and the complexity of just the wording, like you say, BOPUS to a pet store, they're going to cry.
I got it. So,
but if you can say, listen, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Just give us 15 items, like get someone at home to do like a PowerPoint presentation, save it as a PDF, and we'll upload or whatever they do. And people will be able to click and order. The orders will come to your email, and you just send it back a time. Yes, come by at 2:00 to grab it.
Yeah.
At that point, while they're picking it up, maybe you can say, listen, if you want to come in, we have some other things here. But you've just saved that person 10 minutes in the store, which they're probably thrilled with. They might give you 2 or 3 back because they know that duration is not going to get them sick, right? It's the after 15 minutes, it sounds like. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
I know it's anyway,
smart guy.
I'm excited for him.
Oh my God. Bring some people that,
like so damn humble too, right? Like, we do really complex things, kilowatts and hydro, government, but we thought we'd build a restaurant menu thing and help. Like,
honestly, good for him. Who does shit like that? Seriously, that's awesome.
Amazing.
Very, very cool. Very cool.
It's cool. Everything's good with you?
Oh yeah, always.
Yeah.
What the hell, above ground, it's all good in the hood, man.
Yeah, man.
Seriously, yeah. I mean, I was watching the news and looking at food lines in the States, and the numbers every day of seriously businesses going going the wrong way. I mean, really, we're living in we're okay, man.
Yeah, crazy times right now.
It is. It's nuts out there. We're very fortunate that we're riding it out well.
I am extra fortunate because I got biscotti from Mama Venucci.
Oh, I know that they made it.
Yeah.
They didn't look like they took the trip too badly.
So I have to tell you this, right? Kathy will not be listening to this, but I didn't even. So I got the box. I saw your name on it, right? So Kenny was kind enough to send me his mom's
my mom made it special for you. 2 batches.
It's amazing. So I got the box, and Kathy loves biscotti, right? So I intentionally waited. She was at the museum today, came home, and then I waited for her, and I said, listen, Kenny sent these, to me. These are going to be amazing. We open the box, I pull them out, and she just dials right in. And before I can even look at it or take a picture, she's got one out of the bag. She's eating it. No espresso, no nothing. She's just eating it. And she's just like, wow, these are amazing. I'm like, I didn't even see you do that, right? Like I went to grab my phone so I could take a picture, and she's eaten one already, right? I'm like, put it back. I want a picture. Like, what are you?
Did you notice I gave you both batches though, eh?
Yeah.
So you got 6 of the ones. So the first batch she made were burnt, according to my mom. That's the way me and my dad.
No.
To me, that is how you do them. So then she sort of less, cooked them, which I don't like as much because I like the crispy, and I like the fact it leaves the sawdust in the espresso or your cup of coffee.
Yes.
So that last swish you get.
Yes.
Man,
you get some crumbs in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I reached for the burnt one.
Yeah.
Right. Because I love those two. And Kathy went straight for the other ones. And, but honestly, I'd never seen her like Kathy just,
that's awesome.
I'd never seen her move that fast ever. Right. She was just like, oh my God. I'm like, I didn't offer you a biscotti. Those are not for you. Those are for me. Like, what?
Next time I'll put Kathy's name on it. And Jessica, I'm glad they got there, and I'm glad you enjoy it.
Yeah,
it's a small thing, but my mom was she was so upset when she came home. My dad, what? I didn't know like they came out. You can't send this to your friend. And okay, Mom, relax.
Oh, please.
That's what I said.
No.
Oh my God.
It's amazing. You tell her we said thanks. So.
No, absolutely. Awesome. Absolutely. Fantastic.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay, boy.
That's it, buddy.
Nothing else for you.
That's all I got.
9:15. You're 12:15. Time for bedtime for you.
Yeah. I got a half day off tomorrow. I was going to have a full day, but I got some things to take care of. So a half day. But
I
it's
might
good.
do a half day tomorrow too.
Yeah. It's been a long week. So chill in the afternoon, maybe
Yeah.
cook up something fancy for dinner.
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah.
that.
Why not?
Something like that. Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
Thanks, dude.
Phil, take
right.
care of yourself. We'll chat later, buddy.
Take care, man. Talk to
Ciao,
you
ciao.
later.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
All right, that's the end of this Commerce Life. We'll be back soon with the next episode. Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed it. Give us feedback. Tell us what you think. Subscribe, like us, join us, share us, tell your friends about us. And we hope to see you next time with more commerce news.